I'm way too that's why I say I actually
Sorry, it's I paid $15
Good evening, everyone. At this time, if we could have the candidates come and take their seats up front. Thank you very much.
Didn't know we had 2, 3. How about that?
Good evening.
Give me four. Do you have any questions? Hey, back. Good. How are
Bring them up to me a little bit. He's on the page.
Early on when I joined Summer, he tried to wrestle me for vice president. I got the clerk. She tried to wrestle me for me, and I'm still talking about you know 3 things. President. Try to teach
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for those of you that are joining us in person. My name is Anthony Martin, and I'm the Government Affairs Committee Chair for the Porterville Chamber of Commerce, and so I will be moderating this evening's candidate forum. Tonight, we have 4 candidates, 2 for District 3 and 2 for District 4. The forum this evening will have the following format. It will be, each candidate will be given 2 minutes to have an opening statement. Excuse me. They will then go through questions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each question. And then at the end, each candidate will have 2 minutes for a closing statement. We have Mr. Vanny and Mr. Rivas for District 3, Mr. McKirby and Mr. Wyrock for District 4. So we will begin just momentarily and give them a chance to make those opening statements. To those of you on Facebook, thank you for joining us. If you are here in person and you want to submit a question and you have not done so, we have cards. I cannot guarantee that we will get through all of the questions, but please feel free to submit one and we will have our team over here go through them. So with that being said, Mr. Vanny, we're going to start with you, and we're going to have you go ahead and start with your opening statement. And Mrs. Martin?
Okay, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up here in Porterville, started out at Alta Vista, kindergarten and first grade, with Principal Trout, and a kindergarten teacher with Mrs. Trout. My mother remarried. We moved to the west side, went to Burton, graduated at Burton, which was one of the only graduating ceremonies I went through just because of different circumstances. Later that I skipped over high school and college graduation due to competition. I went to Manatee High School and obviously wrestled quite a bit, and I ended up second in the state championships. Unbeknownst to me, my great high school counselor, Bob Smith, signed me up for a Pell Grant, which got me to Cal State University Bakersfield, where my junior and senior year I had not been taken down, and I went into a room with a couple of national champions, D1, and obviously I got pretty good for the first couple months, and that helped me make it through college and competition on an international level. I ended up coaching there at Cal State Bakersfield for 3 years after I graduated, before I went to Switzerland for a year to coach a club. And then I moved on to Arizona State, where I coached for 6 years. And we won the NC2A Division I National Championship, first time it's ever been this side of Mississippi. Following that, I taught at Porterville High School Health and Physical Education for 30 years. And this will be my 34th year of coaching high school wrestling at Porterville.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vanden. Up next, we have Mr. Rivas, and go ahead.
Good evening, my name is AJ Rivas. I lived in Porterville most of my life. I went to Rockford School, I went to Olive Street School, went to Alta Vista and Bartlett and high school, and Porterville High School. During that tenure, I met my lifelong wife from freshman, and we were going on 45 years. At that point, I decided that we were going to raise a family here in Porterville because we loved it so much. So I went into the Explorer Sheriff's Program, and I did that for 2.5 years, and I almost became a deputy where I elected to go with the CHP or the corrections. Fortunately, corrections called me sooner than the CHP, so I elected to go with them, and I retired after 32 years of the corrections. So my total years in law enforcement are close to 35 years. During my tenure there, I went to San Jose University. I studied administrative justice. I went to Modesto Junior College and studied for also administrative justice. I've been in special units where I transported individuals throughout the 50 states. I was a trainer for trainers for trainees for CHP and first aid responders. I was a K-9 supervisor. I was a bloodhound seminar also. We have 3 children. One is a doctor, one's a captain, and one's a psych tech. So I want to give back to Porterville everything that it's given me. And what I want is, I want everybody to be proud of what Porterville used to be all-American city. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the...
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Up next, we have Mr. McCurby.
Hi, good evening. My name is Ed McCurby. I gotta turn my mic on. I've lived in Porterville for more than 50 years. I grew up here. I have a lovely wife of 33 years next month, Denise, and she's with us here tonight. She's actually a professional and she's worked at the hospital. She's a nurse. I have my 2 daughters here tonight, 2 lovely daughters. They both graduated from Wenatchee, one in the cheer department and one was on the varsity golf team 4 years. And I also have my son-in-law here, Jeremy Ray, and then Jeremy just brought me a grandchild. And so we have a lovely family here. They're here tonight supporting me. Jeremy's a fireman. He graduated here. And his first fire in the city was the library fire. And it was very traumatic for the family, and not nearly as traumatic for those that lost their lives, and it's very traumatic for our city. But we felt that connection to our city in different ways, but in an intimate way. And we are very connected to this city. I went to West Putnam and Bellevue and Roach and Bartlett. I started the chess club at Bartlett in junior high school, and it was arguably the best chess club they ever had. There's a picture of me in the paper when I was in junior high school beating a rated 3,200 player. I went on to Porterville High School, and my wife graduated from Wenatchee, and I graduated from Porterville. That's a story that takes longer than 2 minutes to tell. But we were married in the First Congregational Church, right here at the historic church, because one of my teachers when I was a kid, one of my Sunday school teachers was also at Bartlett, helped us to get that going when we got older. We were able to get married in that great place in our city. I'm fighting for my kids. I'm fighting for the future of this city. I got energized because I saw them build a school on a dead-end street. And then I started to see other things in our city that aren't going right with crime. And I want my kids and my daughters to be out in this city and be safe wherever they go. And I'm fighting for them.
Thank you, Mr. McCurby. Up next, we have Mr. Wyrock, and before that, if those of you, the candidates, if you could, like Mr. McCurby, make sure you turn on your microphone. It makes sure, once you're speaking, it helps our audience online to be able to hear what you're saying, and we want to make sure that they hear everything you say so that they're able to make an informed decision. So thank you. Mr. Wyrock, with that, we'll go ahead and get started with you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the Chamber for arranging this session tonight. I'd like to thank you, the audience, for coming, and those watching online for participating in this very important civic responsibility to select the next leader for Porterville and these various districts throughout the city. 14 years ago, I never heard of Porterville. I grew up in a small town called Williams Bay, Wisconsin, and that small little flashing red light to stop at 1,552 employees, or pardon me, residents. And I went back there this summer, and it has barely more, and it still has one flashing red light. The houses in that community are the same that they were when I was a boy growing up. They've transferred ownership. They're beautiful. Williams Bay, Wisconsin was a wonderful place to grow up. I moved to California. I'm living up in Sonoma County for a number of years. Graduated high school there. Got into construction. After a few short years, I was running crews, building track homes for Centex, Citation Northern. Had crews, had a foreman truck. On my 4th year in the business. After a while, I hurt my back when I went back to wearing my bags every day, framing walls and such, and got into safety management. It served me well. I've been able to effectively get people home every single day safe. It was paramount to me that nobody else went through the workers' comp system like I experienced in California. As a result of that, the opportunities just continue to open up for me because I have a belief in the goodness of everybody and nobody wants to get hurt. Brought together very sophisticated, very talented teams, very educated teams building $1,000-billion power plants and freeway bridges and such, flying in and flying out the same day, taking care of business, building people, not jobs. I spent some time at Foster Farms here recently, and they said, why are you at Foster Farms? And it's like, it's building people. It's not about poultry. This city deserves the best, and I'm here to help support that city.
Thank you, Mr. Wyrock. So at this point, we'll move into our questions. And so with that, we're going to start with you, Mr. Rivas, since Mr. Vandy got to go first with the introductions. And so our first question is a pretty easy one. If elected to City Council, what would be your top 3 priorities?
Safety. Thank you. Safety would be my top priority. My other one would be business and homelessness. Homelessness is a complex issue, and we need a compassionate but firm approach to address this issue. With the business support, economic growth, important, starts with empowering small businesses and creating an environment conducive to entrepreneurship. We need to foster economic growth, and the other will be housing. Housing, to be affordable is crucial for Porterville's future. Affordable housing with builders and developers to streamline permitting process and securing funding for affordable housing activities. I believe that we need safety. We need people who, when you walk out on the street, you can not feel afraid, and you need to feel safe for the community and for the development of creating new jobs in regards to real estate and downtown Porterville. We need to focus on it because that is the lifeblood of Porterville. In regards to homelessness, we need to contact and be in the forefront of being able to help these homeless people because, you know, I don't like seeing individuals living in a timber. There are programs out there where we can assist them and help them where they need help. And, you know, but first and foremost, safety and the roads also. Those need to be fixed. And that way we can all prosper from good road conditions. And that, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Mr. McCurvey, now to you. Would you like me to repeat the question?
No.
Oh, just wanted to check. And if you would make sure your mic is on. Thank you.
Thank you. My top priority, and I hear this when I knock on doors, is roads. We're 10 years behind on roads. I have a plan to fix the roads. In the first 4 years, 60% of the roads of our city can be paved and fixed in the next 4 years. I think we can catch up in less than 10 years, but we have some catching up to do. A city that can't fix its roads is on the wrong track. Top priority. Top priority is making sure that our public spaces are safe and clean. We have assets downtown. We spent millions of dollars on them. We don't keep it clean. And that is part and parcel to the homeless problem that we have to face. It's a multifaceted problem. It's something that we have to go out and pass Prop 36. Everyone in this audience, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, pass Prop 36 and flip the Prop 47 error upside down so we can give our police and our resources to our sheriff to help to ameliorate the problem with the criminals that are hiding among the homeless population, where we can give them help. We have top priority also to create some sort of a civic center downtown, to bring a draw downtown. We need something, a bigger meeting space to have public hearings, a place that we can meet and have farmers markets and things like that that draw us to downtown. We have to have something as far as something for the kids as a regional competition park. We started down this direction. We need to make something where we can get the talented young men and women in our community to compete, where they don't have to go to the city and compete. Because we got some of the most talented athletes in this area around, and we need the people to come to Porterville and compete in one of our centers. And that'll bring revenue into our city. Those are my top priorities.
Thank you, Mr. McCurdy. Mr. Ryra, are you ready?
Thank you. I think one of my highest priorities as a city council member would be the proper selection of the next city manager. I think by far that having the right person with the right qualifications, with real life experience in managing a city, maybe even a city larger than ours, who has the networking and the depth of knowledge to get it done, is going to be one of the most important things in the first part of this next period of time for our city. I too, you're going to hear a lot of the same responses up here because we all have been in the city for a while. We've looked around. Public safety, Main Street, shopping areas, public spaces in our schools and neighborhoods are all important. We need to continue prioritizing the professional development of our police and our fire department. We've been doing a good job supporting them, expanding their service, their training facilities, building new structures. We need to equip first responders with the finest tools and technology. I've seen it in action, some of that new technology that just proved catching people that don't belong in our city. People that are learning that this isn't the place to go to pull shenanigans. We need to focus on crime prevention strategy more firmly, and they are. People get waved off that might know an undercover agent because they don't want to be interviewed or talked to because they're working. We've got some skill in the field. I don't feel we have a problem with our public safety enforcement officers. It's a great department, and I feel safe walking the streets, and I think the majority of us do too as well. There are issues when somebody comes around and maybe shakes your tree, or we're uncomfortable around somebody that's not just like us. Well, you know what, we're working on that, and we'll get to that in homeless in a moment. Improving pedestrian and bike safety measures is all a part of public safety. Enhancing the homeless SMART team so that they have the tools and resources to help these people get the help that they need, and it might be somebody else in business growth. The airport industrial park, did that ever happen? It didn't. And I'm sorry that there's only 3 of these priorities because there's a few more than that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ryra. Mr. Vandy.
Well, obviously, homeless is a big issue. But first off, I'd like to congratulate the council as you ever put together the SMART team with Jay Costello, because they're quite responsive and they're doing a wonderful job with the safety of our community. And then a few homeless people on Pocket over there that almost ran over. But homeless is one, obviously roads are another. I know most potholes on my route to and from Porterville High, and I can dodge them here and there, but yeah, roads are a big issue because we need the infrastructure. That's huge. And I think with the collaboration of the next council, that they can do that, and with the city's equipment that they've purchased, they're doing roads in a timely manner. Right now, they're just ending their road season because of the weather is coming, and they need the heat to actually adhere to the roads. So I see that progressing to a point where they can get things done. They're trying to do it in a timely manner so they don't disrupt local businesses and certain times of the year where they can handle that. The other priority, number 2, would most likely be business development, so we can gain more tax revenue. We'd like to see them build out the Riverwalk Obviously, the master plan for the two-wheeler on the other side of 190 and 65. That would add more businesses and tax revenue for the city of Porterville. My big thing, I'd love to see the library rebuilt. I'd like to see them put a shovel in the ground tomorrow if we could and build that out and get it built because we've got a nice facility over there, a lot of space that they can do a lot with. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benny. Our next question, and Mr. McCurdy, we will be starting with you. What's more important for our city right now? Building new homes and commercial space, or rehabbing, expanding, or revitalizing and utilizing our existing homes and storefronts?
All of the above. We need all of the above. Everywhere I go in this county, we're building and growing responsibly, but not in Porterville. There's a reason, because we need to streamline the process in Porterville. It takes too long. It's causing us to deliver houses at the commercial level that cost more than they should cost because it takes too long to build them. For the realtors that are flipping houses and employing local labor, they are having trouble flipping those houses timely. It's causing them not to be able to flip it at a reasonable price, and it's lowering their profit margin, and they're not able to hire as much locally. Our commercial business in the downtown area, I'm told by business owners and property owners downtown that it's cheaper for them to buy another building than to remodel because of the overreach of this city and the regulations of the city. We cannot even put a roof on the Elks Lodge without costing us a whole group of things we have to upgrade. And that's a historical building. There needs to be some deference, some opportunity zones that the city needs to create to make sure that our downtown historical buildings are not destroyed by these regulations, and that we can make sure that we can remodel buildings instead of trying to buy new buildings. There's a lot of things that this city can do differently, and I've seen it happen in Visalia and Tulare. I've talked to leadership in those other cities, and they are making it happen. We can make it happen here too, but it's going to take some changes in our building department, and we have to be planning ahead instead of reacting. We have to follow up. And we have to stop going back to the people that are trying to make change and make money in the city for affordable housing and growth. We have to stop going back and telling them, oh, you got to change this, and you got to change that. Oh, now you got to fix your sidewalk. You got to do all this stuff. And what's happening is it's stifling growth in our city.
Thank you, Mr. McCurdy. Mr. Wyrock, would you like me to repeat the question? Oh, of course.
As a safety professional, I've learned over time, over 35 years, that codes and standards change. There's an element of planning that's called life safety. And to go back to the way it was, where somebody might have walked into City Hall with a set of plans and a wink and a nod and a handshake and a cup of coffee, and maybe a beer later that night, to get a house built or a subdivision approved, are gone. The developers know that, they realize that. The developers are sophisticated. They know how to leverage their resources to build profitable homes. It's not a long drawn out thing. We're watching the Brookside development go in. It's been a matter of months. It happens fast, it happens well planned. There won't be occupancy in those houses until the roads are completed. I support all types of housing. Affordable, low income, custom homes, even the executive type homes. Why do people work in the city, make all kinds of money, and then they go live up in Visalia or somewhere else? But we do need to increase the affordability. The median income of our city is about $52,000, and the median price of our home is here, and the gap is just too broad. It's too broad. There's initiatives. There's at the self-help federal credit union that realtors can plug into and help people get qualified for these different loan enhancements and these different ways to become a homeowner. That's a stepping stone to the American dream. We need to, I agree that we need to maybe make some more decisions to shrink the lot sizes and maybe increase some densities in certain areas in the town, but not in one area, not one district, maybe throughout the city. The investors will come together, and I'm asking all the realtors tonight and I'll meet with a group tomorrow morning to talk about the things that get in the way of their clients who are trying to buy their first home, and then an investor swoops in and picks it up before they get qualified. We need ideas to get that fixed and be better while maintaining all the requirements of fair housing, equal access to these properties, and adhering to the Realtor Code of Ethics, which is very, very important. And these housing types, they need to be done in a manner so that there's no traffic congestion. This school from 20 years ago, we're finally getting it fixed.
Thank you, Mr. Wyrock.
Repeat the question, please.
Absolutely. I was actually going to ask if that was okay with you, just for our audience as well. So the question is, what's more important for our city right now, building new homes and commercial space, or rehabbing, revitalizing, or better using our existing homes and commercial properties?
Well, I'd like to see us do all of it. You know, obviously, commercial space is important because that's the tax base and tax revenue. If we can use those taxes to help refurbish or rehab some of our homes that are existing now, and we have more out of the market. Obviously, Mr. Wyrock made a good point with we have a lot of realtors in this town that are developing and flipping homes. It's important that I know the city has a program as well that they can help assist first-time home buyers, which is important. So I think we need to identify those people so we can hopefully get them into their first home. And it doesn't need to be all low income. It can be spread out through the city. There's a lot of space out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vanny. Mr. Rivas, whenever you're ready.
I think all the above, because there should always be boundaries in regards to commercial and real estate. Those are, like Mr. Vanny said, tax revenue and are set there in place for certain reasons. Development in Porterville needs to grow. I believe that Porterville has been stymied for too long, and we need to open up and eliminate a lot of red tape and a lot of filibustering. As what Mr. Don said, I totally disagree with fixing the school on the northwest, because I remember making a phone call to a particular council member, and he didn't give me the time of day as to explain why, when, or how to vote. You just got to live with it. Well, I don't believe in that type of councilman. You need to talk to your constituents and inform them of what's going on. In regards to first-time home buyers, there's programs out here that I would like to open up for those families wanting to live here in Porterville. Because Porterville is a rich city that has a lot of opportunity and a lot of wealth. Now, in regards to development, I've spoken to a lot of developers who don't want to work in Porterville anymore because of the ways that they've been stymied. Now, if we eliminate a lot of that rhetoric and a lot of that situations, they have said that they would come back and start investing and growing in Porterville, because that's what they do for a living. So I support all that, and if I get elected, I will give you the opportunity to respond and reply to some of your questions. If I don't, I will get the answer to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Our next question, Mr. Rylock, we'll start with you. No. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm thrown off a little bit because we did the opening statement. So, Mr. Wyrock, you'll be starting with this question. And if you could please share with us any committees that you have been a part of, any nonprofits that you may participate in, and any other community involvement that you believe would be relevant for those participating tonight.
Thank you. I'd like to just take a moment to go back to the Lombardi Street issue. It's been talked about for decades. Road widenings are going in. There's some discussion that's been refreshed to extend the Castle Street all the way up into Lombardi. I can't comment about it because I'm not available to be in the closed session where those discussions are going on because of my proximity to that problem. And I'm very proud of the staff and the patriarchs in this community who are bringing things together to solve some issues. Actually, development of homes. I'm the only candidate up here that's been endorsed by the Building Industry of America, the Tulare and Kings County. I met with them, contractors and suppliers, count on them to help represent them and to get their foot in the door. They know how to build the homes. They're coming to Porterville. The best person to help them get here and be successful without jacking up our streets and creating congestion is myself. Now, as for nonprofits and things like that I do on the side, when I came to Porterville, I think one of the first volunteer things I did was in church. And from that, it led to a time with the Red Cross coming to town to install smoke detectors and some senior mobile homes on the east side of town. And it was amazing how appreciative, not amazing actually, that the residents were, that somebody was there enough to care about them so that if they had a kitchen fire, they wouldn't die in it. One resident actually talked about one of their friends down in Southern California where that actually happened to them, and they were so grateful it brought tears to their eyes. I enjoy going out to the different marathons that we have, the fundraisers, cheering on the runners, walking, and just recently at the Breakfast Rotaries Marathon for the Cancer Center. Those are all community things. And you know, there's a lot of nonprofit things going on here. There's a lot of churches that really pour into the community. That's the heart of Porterville. That's what we all love about Porterville. That's why we're showing up here tonight. That's why you're online watching this or listening to it next week. We care. When we come together, we leave our political differences and our faiths. Yeah, we keep them here, but we let that influence our decision making. When we come together, let's come together as Porterville. Right? Porterville.
Thank you, Mr. Wyrock. Mr. Vandy, do you need me to repeat the question?
No.
All right, thank you.
Well, I've done a lot of wrestling camps. Since about 1980. I've worked with a lot of kids, thousands of kids. I think my first semi-professional was Homeowners Association 8241 North Central Avenue in Phoenix. And we obviously have to work with the residents where you can do special assessments to repair the roof, and obviously the siding that we had in our condo units down there. Since then, I've been involved in a lot of different league committees, the CIF State Advisory Committee for the Central Section, the last 13 years. I've been in a lot of community events. Take my hat off to my wife, who was Woman of the Year, because she does a lot of stuff in the city. And after she retired, and I was nagging her, well, hey, you're retired. She works harder than anybody. So, I like the ribbon cuttings. You know, obviously the first one I went to was Marissa's, because she's a friend, and we've been friends with Marissa for a long time, buying a lot of furniture. She loves us because we're in debt. But I think Porterville has a lot of good resources that will make me a good councilman, and I think we keep the city at heart. There are a lot of activities and a lot of nonprofits in the city of Porterville, and it's great to see different events and be part of those, whether it's the Cancer Run or Santa Fe Trail. Coffee with the Cop this morning was wonderful. So I appreciate the activities that have in the city of Porterville.
Thank you, Mr. Vandy. We appreciate that. Mr. Rivas, you're up next. Would you like me to repeat the question? Okay. Please share with us any committees that you have been a part of, any nonprofits that you may be a part of, or any other community involvement that you may feel is relevant to the position.
Thank you. Well, when I was with the Department of Corrections, I became a union board member, and I facilitated a lot of negotiations where we had a lot of closed door sessions behind in regards to contract negotiations. Also, I was a football coach for the Porterville Raiders for 6 years, and during that tenure, I was very honored to help 3 individuals make it to the NFL. One was James Sanders, and the other one was Victor Leyva, and the other one was Brian Pascal. So in that, we were, I was very instrumental. We got at least hundreds of kids together, and they were at-risk kids at moments at time, but out of all those kids that I coached with the assistance of a few other coaches, only one kid went back. So I take that off, and I'm very, well, one kid is too many, but with that, I hold that dear to my heart for the community. We brought them together. Also, I was a peer pressure member for officers when they suffered traumatic injuries, along with Scared Straight for the at-risk kids for the department. I was an advocate for that, and we had a lot of successful kids go through there and turn their life around. So I'm very pleased with a lot of things that I've done and the training that I've encouraged. But that's what I will bestow to the community of Porterville if elected as a council member. I want to open up programs for those individuals and for other people who want to be coached. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Mr. McCurdy, whenever you're ready.
I just want to say that everybody in District 4 knows that the Lombardi issue is not solved, and it's not going to be solved anytime soon, despite all the things written in the paper. Been dragging it on for 20 years. The people see what's going on with that. And when you write about the patriarch in the paper and you talk about things in a coded way, it makes you think about a lot of weird things. There's two members up here today that have met their financial obligations for disclosure in this race and met the Fair Political Practices Commission that protects the voters and the people. And there's two up here that haven't. And one of them, I'm wondering, is maybe a patriarch that has donated to one of the members' campaign.
Mr. McCurdy, I'm going to ask that you keep your response on topic, please. Thank
I
you.
have been complying with that completely, and my opponent has not. All right, so nonprofits. In the last year, in the organization I belong to, we have started 4 nonprofits in the city. One, the Wenatchee Baseball Boosters, that served kids, 225 kids last spring that learned how to play baseball. Very successful. The Elite Team Lift, we created scholarship programs for kids. We've already given scholarships to the state champion Strathmore football players. We are also championing a lawsuit with My Privacy Matters in this fight we had against COVID and people's privacy. And we also have started a nonprofit about compassion and protection for child trafficked kids in Tulare County. We also have put parental rights from Business Blessing Delivery, put parental rights in our county, and all 5 county supervisors signed that. When we tried that same verbiage in Porterville, only 2 signed it. And the one that I'm running against up on this stage was against parental rights.
Our next question, Mr. Manny, will be starting back with you, as we started with Mr. Rylock, so we'll start back at the front. Our 4th question of the evening. Given the recent citizen concerns regarding issues surrounding the activities of those individuals experiencing homelessness, what actions would you take as a newly elected council member to support the public in addressing these issues?
Well, I think Chief Costello is on track, and maybe expanding the SMART team so they can get a little bit better response time out to calls. There's quite a few homeless going through the streets. I also think the navigation center could possibly be expanded, or I know they're using the armory and the navigation center, and trying to regain funds for expansion, or to at least put more beds where we can have mental health services to these individuals. And, you know, I think you got to be sympathetic to their plight, but at the same time, you have to be a little bit tough love sometimes to get them where they can get help and services. That's I don't have a lot of time. I don't have an answer for you as far as homeless. I know, the city is doing a lot of different things to help curb the homelessness. And they have services for them, they have mental health, on the team, smart team with the city. And, maybe we need to do a city cleanup. There's a lot of trash out there, there's a lot of things that, issues with the homeless. I mean, we have them behind our home on a tour. So, I don't like seeing it, but I think you gotta have a little bit of compassion for these individuals that, are not doing well.
Thank you, Mr. Rennie. Appreciate your response. Mr. Rivas, whenever you're ready.
Homelessness is a complex issue. I believe we need compassion, but a firm approach to addressing this effectively. The waterways, per se, and Main Street. We need to address that issue with the homelessness also. Homeless encampments on Main Street and waterways like the Chewy River are affecting a lot of local businesses and community safety. I plan to enforce non-encampment policies by partnering with nonprofits to help relocate individuals and support housing and to reconnect them with their family members or clinics that they need help. Just recently, I was endorsed by Charles Hughes. He understands the safety of rehabilitating and aligning himself to leadership of national and state task force for public safety. I've spoken to a few officers, and that program that Mr. Costello has is very effective, but there are not enough officers to fix the problem. We need to hire more officers so that team could be on call 24/7, not only 3 days out of the week and then off 4 days out of the week, because you're just putting a Band-Aid on the problem. You need officers who are cross-trained for that type of situation. Now, on the Navigation Center, that is an excellent center, but we need more funding so we can help these individuals, because mental health is a real issue here in Porterville. And we need to help them get the proper medication and assistance that they need to alleviate this problem in Porterville of homelessness. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. And I'm going to read the question again just because it's a longer question and we've gone through two of our candidates, both for the candidates as well as those in participating. Mr. McCurdy, just so that way you know, given the recent citizen concerns regarding issues surrounding the activities of those individuals experiencing homelessness, what actions would you take as a newly elected council member to support the public in addressing these issues? Mr. McCurdy.
This is a very important issue for our city, and I'm going to emphasize Prop 36 again. When I talked to Mike Boudreau about that, who was endorsed me for this campaign, we talked about this at length because the resources that we need at the county level are very important. You can see how they push them out away from the city and they're out in the county right now. But we don't have the resources. We do need to expand the SMART team because it's a good team, but it's not nearly enough. And we want to do something here that may not seem intuitive to some people, but there's a whole bunch of homeless people being pushed around the state because of our governor right now. And some cities are taking responsibility and some aren't. And so I need to find out, or I would like to find out, how many people are in our homeless population that aren't from Porterville, and I want to get them home. Charity begins at home. We can halve the homeless population to start. We get Prop 36 and start getting the resources we need to handle homelessness, and let's engage our churches. We are not allowed to engage, the churches are not allowed to engage at the Navigation Center and use a 12-step program to try to help people that have substance abuse problems. Our city is a barrier to that because of the way the funding is done. We need to open that up and engage our churches because 12-step programs work. We no longer have a drug program in our courts that Judge Roper started, which was very innovative in this city a generation ago. We don't have those resources to get those folks help. We need to get them that help. And we need to be engaged at the church level. And the city needs to open up and embrace these partnerships with the churches to get our spirit of the city back and start helping the people that are underserved in this community and stop neglecting them. It's not kind to make them sleep on the street and sit down by the river. And it leads to fires, and it's a flood risk, and it's leading to all sorts of destruction of our waterway. And we have to address this for all of those reasons, and we have to work together to get it done.
Thank you, Mr. McCurvey. Mr. Rywall, to you.
Would you repeat the question for myself and the audience?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Given the recent citizen concerns regarding issues surrounding the activities of those individuals experiencing homelessness, what actions would you take as a newly elected council member to support the public in addressing these issues?
Every city has these issues. I followed a bus coming into town and pulled into a business outside of our city limits, and the doors opened up and people got off that bus and they went into the metals building, and they had to wonder what was going on. I called and reported it to the sheriff because it didn't look like farm workers, new backpacks, new tennis shoes, and I was just not wanting anybody to be heard. Never heard back from the sheriff. Asked recently about a bus pulling into Porterville, a bunch of people all of a sudden getting off of it. Can we stop it? What can we do? No, we can't stop it. We're looking at options for that. We are compassionate people. I support the services that help people rise from homelessness and expanding them. I'm speaking from a first-person standpoint. My daughter, who I lost at 38, went through the system, went through mental health issues, and I wouldn't wish that system or those types of conditions on my worst enemy. I think we need to continue partnering with our experts, Kingsview, sustaining, possibly duplicating and expanding the efforts that are underway at the Navigation Center, the Armory, and elsewhere in the county where needed services may be consolidated and more readily available. Many are rising from homelessness through the Navigation Center. The Kings to Larry Homeless Alliance has a homeless management information system, HMIS. It's designed to help providers coordinate care and manage operations. I've asked staff to help us work through the barriers so that our SMART team or some other agency within the city can use the system to find temporary housing and programs in nearby cities through that system. Assisting with relocating individuals from the Armory or River to other areas in the county where those consolidated services are located will only help. Not us first, but them. We're compassionate people. I supported expanding the SMART team, ratcheting up our North Camping ordinance. By enforcing the ordinance and utilizing HMIS, we will decrease the number of homeless by the river, helping more rise from it, and decrease the encounters in and around our downtown area.
Thank you, Mr. Wyra. Our next question, Mr. Rivas, you'll be up first. So, as a newly elected council member, what would your plans be to protect and support homegrown business owners and ensure they can thrive, especially as outside businesses and corporations seek to enter our community?
As a newly elected council member, I would go to each and every local business and take note as to their concerns and to ensure that they will thrive in Porterville, even though outside businesses are coming into Porterville. They are our life source. Those local businesses, those are mothers and fathers have been here for so long. And I would protect them in such a way where they would not have to worry about outside interference with the business code aspect, with other issues that they bring to light. In regards to bringing more businesses, I would encourage them to ensure that Porterville has their back, and in regards to that, I leave that with that in mind. So, the local businesses, I would ensure that they will not have anything to worry about. And with that, I turn it over.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Mr. McCurdy?
Yeah, small business, the lifeblood of our community, the entrepreneurs that make this city work. It's very hard for them to compete with big business, especially with the heavy regulations and the heavy compliance issues that this city puts on them. We need to create some opportunity zones for small business, and we need to create some conditions so that the small businesses can compete with the bigger businesses, because they can't comply with the regulations with the same resources that the big businesses can. We have to create a downtown zone, for example, or an enterprise zone downtown, so that the people that want to be entrepreneurial and open shops downtown will have an advantage that the big business won't have. And we need to make sure that we level the playing field and create the conditions to support our small businesses. These are our people, these are our neighbors, our friends that are putting their life on the line to provide a service. And they're sacrificing so much, and our city puts such a heavy burden on them, they can't compete with the big business. We have to create the conditions to help them to thrive. It really just seems like, when I presented these plans to the Tulare County Realtors Association in detail, and I sat down with them, they went with me and endorsed me. The Tulare County Realtors Association of this county endorsed me because I have plans to streamline the regulations and create opportunity zones that help small businesses, they help realtors, they help our big business in some ways too for building, but we have to make it so that it works for everybody. That's why I got the endorsement from the Tulare County Realtors Association, and the realtor who was my opponent did not get that endorsement. And that tells a story. And you can talk about the local realtors that are giving endorsements to my opponent, but the main endorsement came from the county where growth is happening.
Boo.
Mr. Wyrock, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, thank you. This is fun. I mentioned to somebody that I hope the next 4 years in Porterville, we have more fun. We do so much together, we contribute well together. It's time for that. It's a free market society. We have 3 cannabis plants downtown. I don't think all 3 of them are going to make it. I get it when people pour their life savings into a downtown business and they put everything into it and it folds. Maybe they're not ready. Maybe more business incubation classes. Maybe a special fee to join the chamber if they don't have any sales and they're starting up so they can take part in some of these trainings on how to be successful in their business. Maybe partnering and helping to facilitate the different aspects of grants with some of the tax money we're getting from the cannabis facilities. There's going to be grants coming out that people can apply for to help them with their business. To foster it, the Main Street surveys, I've talked to the dispensary neighbors, they're seeing more foot traffic. The cleanliness of downtown, we've got people working on our downtown streets every single day, keeping the litter up. We're paving roads around this city so that if a big business comes in, they can take a look at these big roads and maybe consider moving on the outskirts and taking advantage of some of the land that surrounds us. I attend ribbon cuttings recently at the Tule River Economic Development Corporation. That's a strategic alliance. They're going to be bringing more jobs and businesses to fruition, and we're a part of that. We're a part of the community with them. We've been successful on PATA. The business showcase at the Veterans Memorial Building. It was an honor to attend as a city council member, thanking those businesses for being here and asking them, what can we do to help you more? They have my phone number. And just not about the chamber to recognize their contribution in helping our businesses be successful. They're gaining momentum. They're getting out there. They invited me to a ribbon cutting at the Porterville Wellness Center where people come together to learn how to function when they can't come together, when the resources are there, the professionals to help them through the day. They can call a friend who's dealing with the same things that they are. In my area, my vision is for all around Porterville, all these landowners to put their land on the list. If they want to sell it, they don't want to sell it. Tulare County Economic Development Committee comes and says, hey, we need 500 acres. Okay, who's got 500 acres? Let's go.
Thank you, Mr. Wyrock. Mr. Vanny.
Can you repeat the question? Myself,
Yes, sir. What are your plans to protect and support homegrown business owners, ensure that they can thrive, especially as outside businesses and corporations seek to enter our community?
Well, number one, I think the city's doing a great job of economic development. Obviously, we need to grow. And I believe the families that are here now with the local businesses and the small mom and pop, they're the fabric of the community. grow if we do it in a responsible way. Places where you eat, where you shop, whether it's downtown or on Henderson, even Olive Street, grocery stores. I think we do need an opportunity to expand the economic development with, I would say big corporate businesses, but if we get a business zone area on that south side of 65 and Olive down there on 190, there's going to be room for business to come in. And I don't know that how it will impact negatively on our local mom and pop stores. I think these are families that have been invested in the community, they're going to stay in the community, they have a reliable patronage from the community. But we do need to bring in some other corporations, I don't know if it's corporations, but other businesses to balance out the tax base for the city revenue.
Thank you, Mr. Manning. Mr. McCurby, we'll start with you for the next question. And then we're going, after this question, this question and the previous question were questions that were submitted by people previous to tonight, whether they were board members or people at ambassador meetings. After this question, we'll move on to the next, a couple questions from the audience that we have over here. So our next question, Mr. McCurby, starting with you. As a council member, you represent all constituents within your boundaries. However, not all of them will vote for you. How will you represent all constituents within your boundaries, including those who believe something different than you?
Did you start it yet? All right. Okay, well, if you guys have read it, you read my book, or you read what I write in the newspaper, I'm a Declaration of Independence guy. Equal justice. Everyone is created equal. We don't treat anybody differently. I'm not better than anyone in here. This job isn't a paid job. We might have different skills, we might have different abilities, but merit is the strength of our society. It's based on what we do. And you guys know this, that some people might need a little bit of helping hand, but look, we can't get to a point in our society where everyone needs a helping hand or there's no one left. A hand up is okay, a hand out is probably not the right thing. So we have to think about this clearly. Equal justice under the law is the law of the land. That's the underpinning of our society. So when I was knocking on doors, I talked to some ex-gang members. I talked to some guys that can't vote. But after I had a long conversation with them and told them I was going to represent them, I have a sign in their yard because they're advertising for me because they can't vote, but they want to help me get into office because they know I'm sincere and I'm authentic and I want to support everybody in this city. And you know, some people have said I'm a hater. Well, I hate broken roads and I hate homelessness, but I love good roads and I love taking care of people. And I think that sometimes we get a bad rap when we listen to what some of the other people say about others, and it's great to have this forum because then we can get together and hear from the candidate directly, and you guys all know that I've been passing my phone number out everywhere around the city to talk to people and be transparent and build trust and be truthful. Sometimes I'm direct, but that doesn't mean I don't care. I think that the fight that I have in me is the passion to take care of everybody in my district, everybody in this city, and even in the surrounding areas. And you can see that by my work in the nonprofit world, doing things that the city can't and shouldn't do.
Thank you, Mr. McCurby. Mr. Wyrock, whenever you are ready.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes, sir. As a councilman, excuse me. As a council member, you represent all constituents within your boundaries. If elected, how will you represent all of those constituent members in your boundaries, even those who have differing beliefs and different viewpoints than you?
Thank you. I don't think it's about the sign. I don't think it's about the yard yard sign. Somebody may have opened their door and said, yeah, Don, I didn't hear about you, I don't know about you, I'm meeting you for the first time right now, and I get it, people don't know your name. You know what, I do trust you, go ahead and put your yard sign out front. They can still vote for Mr. McCurry. They can still vote for me. I came to this town with my character, my integrity. I built my reputation over years in construction, humbly serving the individual that was showing up on a job site to deliver one item, and that was whatever that builder was paying us to give them. To facilitate, and I'll share more of my closing comments related to this, but I've always strove to meet the needs of all the residents, not only in our District 4, but the entire city. When I was chosen over Mr. McCurry to be appointed to the city council, I looked over to him and I asked him to be my special advisor and all of his supporters to be my special advisor. I called him twice to coffee, we chatted. We chatted and I shared with him how distracted humanity seems to be and how we can't all just come together for the sake of Porterville. I get it, we're busy, but we do represent all the people of Porterville. There's in District 4 down a lot of communities, little subdivisions where people hear what they want to hear and do what they want to do, and that's freedom. And you know, our city deserves a representative that listens and understands, and yes, has their passion, but doesn't let it override their decision making or maybe skew it. You know, this is, you know, we talk about realtors, and I appreciate the endorsement, and I spent 15 minutes with them. I had an appointment, Mr. McCurry got 45. Maybe I teed up those realtors a little bit to ask some questions, but real estate is local. It's local, and it matters here.
Thank you, Mr. Wyrock. Mr. Vaney.
No, I think representing people, as once called the pride of Porterville, I have a lot of pride in the city. And if I have disagreements with my neighbors, obviously we're going to try to collaborate and not so much persuade them, but help them see the vision of what could be and make the city a lot more productive, make it a little bit more compassionate. And I don't think handouts are, when someone is in need, a handout can be a blessed thing. Because that person may pay it forward, and maybe that's the handout that they needed to help them move forward and become part of a productive member of our city. And I'm passionate about things, but I'm here to represent the city of Porterville, not really my district, even though that's primarily where I put all my signs, in my district. I didn't know you could do advertise citywide. So I'm kind of new with that campaigning stuff, but I'm here to represent the city of Porterville. I'm running for District 3. I spoke with neighbors and friends and most of our community, but I'm here to represent the city of Porterville. We have a lot of good citizens here. We have a lot of good business here. We have a lot of nonprofits here. We have a compassionate community that helps their neighbor, that is there for their neighbor, and I like to see that pay it forward, and that's primarily why I'm running.
Thank you, Mr. Benny. Mr. Rivas? Sure. As an elected council member, you represent all members or all constituents within your boundaries, even those who have different beliefs within you. How would you as a council member represent those with differing beliefs, with beliefs that are differing from yours?
You know, when I started this, I was doing a lot of door knocking. And all you have to do is listen to me. Have a good, open conversation with them, and they'll tell you, and you know, you get to know them, and it's very personal. And then that's how you get to know your constituents, which are the stakeholders, which is you. All my life, I've always been taught, when you say something and you mean it, stick to it. Don't go back and renege on it, because that doesn't make you, that challenges your character, that challenges who you are. But in regards to my district, I will listen to what they have to say, and I will be compassionate to what their concerns are. Because fundamentally, they're the ones that elected me, and they're the ones with the concern. And I'm here to help them achieve things that they're more concerned about. I will explain to them about transparency, because I believe in transparency. A lot of constituents do not understand the fundamentals of what goes on in the councils and meetings. So with that, I would encourage them to participate and to the council meetings. And you know, if there's anything, as a human being, you do the right thing for the right people. And when you do that, it gets, like Mr. Vanny says, it gets passed on. And I believe a man's word and a woman's word is your bond. And you should stick to that, because that's all we have in this world. And Porterville is a very, very great place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. And I believe we will be starting with you if my number, or no, we started that question with you, correct, Mr. Benny? No, with you. I'm sorry, Mr. Wyrock. It's been a long day, I apologize. Mr. Wyrock, so this is one of our community submitted questions. Based upon responses tonight, one of the questions is, are you willing to vote yes on tax increases to pay for more of the services? And if your answer is no, I am adding this part, if your answer is no, how will you pay for those additional services?
Thank you. Right now, I don't see in the near horizon the need to raise taxes here in Porterville. The people came together at an election recently and imposed upon themselves an increase in the sales tax to fund fire, to fund roads, and I think it was a smart move to do. We have a public safety department that utilizes those funds efficiently and effectively, and it's very important. So right now, today, I see no reason to raise taxes. However, fees are a different thing, and I know you didn't ask about fees, and recently there's been some discussion about the recent rate increases that have been needed actually for probably 3 or 4 councils back. And we've slowly been drawing down general fund amounts every single year, excuse me, to help cover the costs for some of these ongoing maintenance, some of the things that we need just as a society in our homes. And so we increased the fees because we have additional aging infrastructure that's going to have to be replaced at a future time. And issuing a bond to do that isn't smart either. So I know the fees were painful. We tried to make them as less painful as possible. I get it, but I also get the value, not the cost, the value of a safe city that provides all the needed services to all of our residents. I know that's sometimes a hard thing to manage well, but when we all come together and talk about it and surface the issues like we did at TCRTA, where we weren't getting financial transparencies, we pulled out because I brought that information back to the city. We stood up the transportation department the day after our agreement with the county ended. That's the way we work as a city. I think we pull resources together to get us through the lean times, as well as in the good times, putting money aside for those rainy days, because they're good times.
Thank you, Mr. Wyrock. Mr. Vanny, would you like me to repeat the question? The question is, are you willing to vote yes on tax increases to pay for more services? And if the answer is no, how would you suggest paying for these increased services?
Same the city's budget. I tried to read through that catalog. No, I think the heard the cost increases that is needed for the city. I don't believe in raising the city taxes. I think that's what the economic development is trying to do with the tax base by bringing businesses in. Jay Costello, I saw their budget as well with the police department, as well as the fire department. Spoken with a number of department heads in the city, and they're doing well. They're managing our money well. And as a councilman, that's a big concern, I think, for all of us. But I would not raise taxes. I think we're putting things in different revenue funds that can pay for things. And, the management of your money, my money, is going to be I don't see a bond in it. I don't see a bond issue being I think the expansion of the library obviously is going to be done over time. Seeing that at the council meeting that evening that a lot of people were not happy with this item being the library, but there is room for expansion. And I think through the revenue the city saves, that they can get that done in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Van. Mr. Rivas.
Absolutely not. I will not raise taxes. The city of Porterville is taxed enough. I would, as a council member, first have a meeting with the city manager and his constituents and find other ways to where we can curb raising more taxes. I mean, as it is, you can go to the grocery store, everything's so expensive. I don't think the ultimate thing is raising taxes, just because it's gonna fund this or it's gonna fund that. There are other ways where you can fund things based on other revenues that come into the city. Real estate, other issues, but I will not, in my, that's just out of the question for me. But if, it's just, like I said, it's just, we're being taxed too much, and people need to survive in order to just get a sensible paycheck, you know, it's just, we're being taxed too much, and to answer this emphatically, I would find other remedies and revenues for that, so. I would, like I said, I would get a hold of, have meetings, and we would iron things out, and to make things, to avoid raising taxes. So with that, I leave that with that.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Mr. McCurvey, do you need me to repeat the question, or are you good?
No, I'm good.
Okay, just wanted to check. Thank you.
You know, a lot of people don't know this, but Porterville has a higher tax rate than San Francisco.
That's right, that's right.
Do the services that we get from our city reflect that? We need to work on operations. We gotta make sure that we're insourcing things so that we can make sure that we can generate the revenue locally and live within our means so we don't have to raise taxes. We're in an inflationary period. Inflation is a tax, and everybody is underburdened. It's hurting the poor people more than anyone else. And I will tell you, there are some things I would consider raising the tax for. You know, I see Bill Stowe out there. Bill had a great idea to build a ball field for a regional competition park out here, and that would be something that's not revenue sunk cost. That would be a revenue generator. And if you go into debt to generate revenue, we would be okay. I would be okay with raising taxes to generate revenue. I do not think having a library, doing a bond issue for a library is good, because that's a sunk cost, and then you gotta have the operational expense that puts the burden on the city. When I'm in business, and we built new buildings, gigantic buildings, bigger than this Walmart buildings all over the United States. When we didn't have enough money, we built them in phases. We need to go out there and build that library with the money that we have, and then we need to make it so that the second phase and the third phase is we use a nonprofit, and the people in the city that want to give money to the nonprofit and build the second phase of the library can do that. The people that don't have to. And we can help the city to create a phased approach to build something for our city without raising taxes and without adding a debt burden to the city. But there are things that I would be okay with raising taxes for if we can generate revenue. And that's what we do in business. The city needs to be run more like a business, and the operations need to be run more like a business, so that we get the services that are commensurate with the taxes that we're paying today.
Thank you, Mr. McCurdy. So this will be our last question in order to give us enough time to have the closing statements afterwards. Mr. Vanny, we're going to start with you with this question. Every town in America has shopping malls and box stores. What makes a town unique is its downtown area. It's the heart of a community. Commercial expansion to the outlying areas destroys our small family-owned businesses. Do you perceive this as a problem? What would you do to fix it? And, again, I'm ad-libbing, what would you do to help continue the revitalization of Main Street?
I don't know if I think that's a cannabis store. I kind of traded the Bob Phillips jewelry building. I like Bob back in the day. Kind of missed that. I think the tax revenue that we're generating with the cannabis dispensaries can be good for the city. I don't have to like it. Can you repeat the question?
Sure. So I'm going to get to the gist of the question, so that way I don't take up too much more of your time. The gist of the question is The gist of the question is big box stores moving to outlying portions of the town are destroying our family-owned businesses. Do you perceive that as a problem? How would you work to fix it, and how would you work to revitalize Main Street?
You can extend Main Street. We have this property up here on Main and Henderson. I think there needs to be more development within the Main Street area, whether it's on Second Street or the southern side of Hockett. I think you can still have a vital downtown. Main Street is Main Street. There's a few hundred Main Streets in the country. But it is probably the lifeblood of our community. I'd like to see expansion of maybe closing Main Street or certain sections of the street to have community events. Let's make a walking district somewhere where people can gather rather than driving. We can park on the side streets and we can communicate down Main Street. Probably answer your question.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Mr. Rivas.
Repeat the question.
Sure. I'm going to go ahead and read the whole question. Every town in America has shopping malls and box stores. What makes a town unique is its downtown area. It's the heart of a community. Commercial expansion to the outlying areas destroys our small family-owned businesses. Do you perceive this as a problem? What would you do to fix it? And what would you do to help continue the revitalization of Main Street?
Well, Main Street is the heart and soul of Porterville. Those businesses should not be wavered or forgotten about. We should assist them in any way. Outside businesses, I don't perceive it as damaging as what other people think they might. I think it brings growth. I believe it encourages more tax revenue. I believe with that, we need stuff, entertainment in the downtown Porterville, like one of our local towns have every other Friday, where they close down Porterville, the street, and they come and they enjoy a good activities, music, dancing, good food, good communication with people, and just bringing the community together. I don't foresee downtown Porterville ever losing sight of that prestige that I'm trying to, as a council member, continue to have. I believe that Porterville is always going to have those local mom and pop businesses that we need to protect. And I just don't believe when you bring outside businesses that it's going to hurt mom and pops. I don't see that, because the town will grow. The town's going to grow when you bring businesses in. If you spend money, you're going to make money. So we need to eliminate a lot of red tape and bring in those I was endorsed by the Tulare County Realtors Association, and they believe that I have a vision, and we need to open up in order to expand Porterville. But downtown Porterville will never, moms and pops businesses ever lose sight as what they're there for. Never.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Mr. McCurdy, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, I got it.
Just wanted to check. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a big problem downtown. 60% of the properties downtown are not owned by people in the city. Milt knows that. That's why I voted for my appointment. I don't know why you changed your vote, Milt. Listen, we can create the conditions for downtown to thrive. We always talk about giving a hand up. We need to give a hand up by creating the conditions for people to help themselves to thrive in downtown. We need to have something that says if you're in this downtown area, you have different rules, like they do in Visalia. Because that way the money stays down there and the money gets put towards the things that we need. We have parades down there, we have community events down there. It would be great to have a civic center down there. We don't have a theater down there anymore, but we need a place to have farmers markets. We need a place to have movies and plays and recitals, so we can all come together as a community. In the hot summer sun, we're not going to come out here to this little park. And in the winter rain, we're not going to go out there in the winter cold. We need to have something that's indoors that we can use that's multifaceted, like a civic center in other cities. That will help us to get people downtown and continue to build that entrepreneurial spirit. But we have to create the conditions for that. And that means we have to have an incentive for a storefront being open, and we have to have a penalty if the storefront's not open. And we need to do some things like that that are creative and simple and common sense to help our entrepreneurs in the city to thrive and keep that spirit of our city. And our identity is downtown. Everyone says they love Porterville because they come from the Veterans Parade, the most patriotic city maybe in California, and it's beautiful down there. It needs to be cleaned up. It needs more smart team patrols and keeping people from burning things around there, but it needs to be designated an opportunity zone, and we need to create the conditions so that they can thrive. That would be my plan and my mission.
Thank you, Mr. McCurdy. Mr. Wyro, do you need me to repeat the question?
No, that's okay.
Okay, thank you.
A lot of great ideas up here. For 2 years, there's been a lot of meetings where they're publicly noticed, and there's committees throughout the city on various topics. And there's a lot of people that have been showing up to those, providing influence and ideas to help guide the city forward. The revitalization of Main Street, I get it. So does the city, so do the people that are accountable to us to manage our tax money. Recently, we had a big focus on repaving Main Street. Granite Construction came in, they finished ahead of schedule so we can have the Veterans Parade on time without a delay. The new section, the southern section here, it looks like the sequence and the scheduling won't be able to have it completed before the Veterans Day. So we're splitting that job possibly up so we can do certain sections and make sure that our street is presentable so that we can run our parade on time on that date. Main Street refresh, I get it. There's some people on Main Street, well, I won't go there. I'll just share this. It's important. My wife had a store on Main Street, Sears. The demographics of our city changed. The people that own these buildings where there's maybe no businesses in them, I don't know, it's free market, not sure why those businesses or those landlords or those property owners don't have businesses in there. I don't think I'm gonna have the time to explain how that might be able to be fixed, but I'll tell you this about keeping the area clean downtown. The Building Industry Association, again, the contractors, when I spoke with them, they're willing to come and pay and build infrastructure in the downtown area. We bring in people that make $200,000 a year, and they live in lots of condos just off of Main Street. Where are they gonna shop? Where they live? Will that bring our businesses up? Will jewelers sell more jewelry? Will these restaurants be full on Friday night where you have to get a reservation in 2 days early or you don't get a table? That can happen. The city is run like a business. It's a business of people, and we're self-paving, not 6 to 12 miles of roads a year. We're up to the area of 20 a year because the teams know how to get it done. We're a business. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weibach. And so that concludes our questions portion of the evening. And so now we'll turn it over to the closing statements. And Mr. Rivas, we will begin with you. No, I'm sorry. Right? Mr. Vanny? Go ahead.
Well, I'm running for city council because I want to give back. It was a number of years ago where the city put up a lot of money to help me get to the Olympic Games. And obviously I moved back so I could give back. And I did that through 30 years of teaching. Met my wife here, we live here, we're passionate about Porterville. She's extremely passionate about it because she works overtime. I think the resources that this city has are very good. I believe that as a councilman, I'll be able to work in unison with the other council people to get some things done and move the city forward, whether it's the library or working with the SMART team and dealing with the homeless. I'm just all in. So I don't really have an agenda per se for myself, but just to make the community a better place to live. It's been great. I grew up here and I really enjoy my time, and it can continue to be so for all the families we have in the city of Porterville. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Vanny. Mr. Rivas.
Thank you. I'm running for city council because I want to make change. I want to make positive change. I remember when I first came here, there was only 9,000 residents. Now there's over 63,000 residents. I don't see Porterville going in the right direction. If elected, I will ensure that I will do my darndest to move this town in a positive direction. That's with public safety, law and order, homelessness, small businesses. This town has given me everything, and I want to give it back. I grew up in this town. I went to all the high school, the middle schools, and Porterville has given me so much. I just want to give it back, and I want to give it back to the community. It just, I was inspired by my grandparents and by my family that, you know what, just do the right thing. And given the opportunity, I plan on doing the right thing for you because you are my constituents. I'm doing it for you and for your grandchildren, my grandchildren, because Porterville can grow, and I want Porterville to be what it used to be. You step out of that front door and you can enjoy being and feeling safe. Homelessness is an issue. We can rectify that. But it's very delicate, and there are programs out there for them. First-time home buyers, there are programs out there for first-time home buyers. We just need to open up and eliminate a lot of red tape. And as a council member, I'm here for you. I'm not here for myself. I'm here for you. I'm here to work with the city manager, the city staff, and let's move forward. Enough of this rhetoric. And that's what I would do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rivas. Mr. McCurby.
So, as a candidate, and all of my disclosures and all my filings are out there for everybody to see. There's two men on the stage that don't have that completed. If you want to run this city, you ought to be able to run your campaign, and they're in violation of the fair political practices. They signed a form when they signed to run, and they're out of compliance, and they're going to be fined. It's going to be in the newspaper. This is bad for our city. You can't run your campaign, you can't run the city. And I'll tell you this. This city has huge upside potential. It's in the people. The people are the value of this city. Our kids and our families are the future. We need to focus on them. A rising tide lifts all boats. We talked about equality and how to treat everybody. Having a thriving city will help everybody. And that's what we need to be working on. We need to be working together on that. We need to have a vision. Join me. I have a vision. I have a vision that's not revenue neutral. I have a vision of growth. I have a vision. You vote for me, and I'll continue to unveil that vision. I can't do it in 2 minutes, but I have a plan. And I've got a lot of high-powered leadership all the way through the county and up to the state level that is going to help me achieve those goals. I've got endorsements from Mike Boudreau and Sandra Grove and Alan Macedo and the 3 county supervisors that are leading our county. We can rebuild this city and really capture that upside potential if we work together. But we got to be smart. We got to be operational savvy. I've transformed industry with the values I learned in this city. And we can transform this city if we have a shared vision and we have a shared goal and we work together on the basics, common sense, fundamentals, and I can bring my skills to work on these wide range of opportunities simultaneously. That's what I do. I'm a change agent. I'm a 6 Sigma black belt. I can get this done. You guys vote for me and watch it happen.
Thank you, Mr. McCurvey. Mr. White, whenever you are ready.
Thank you. Behind every good man is a great woman, and mine is the greatest. Brenda, I met her 14 years ago. I came to Porterville and fell in love with it a couple of years ago when I stopped traveling so much and started paying attention. I want to thank you for the opportunity to share my vision for Porterville. My journey in public service began long before I ever considered an appointment to and now running for the city council. As a young Cub Scout, I went door to door selling seeds, learning the value of hard work and community engagement. Later, as a paper boy, I developed self-management skills that would serve me to throughout my life. These early experiences, along with my career in construction, where I fostered a culture of safety and heavy industrial projects, have all been guided by a simple phrase. I read Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, in the early 80s. He challenged me and all readers to create a personal mission statement, so I did. It took me a couple of weeks. I'll do the most good for as many people as possible in the shortest amount of time, because even if I live to be 100, life's too short. This mission has been my North Star, leading me to apply for and serve as council member for District 4. It's not just about what I can do, but who I am, my character, shaped by years of diverse experiences. That's what I bring to this role every day. As we look to the future of Porterville, I believe we all must strive to embody the principles of love, compassion, and service. Our city deserves nothing less than our very best efforts, guided by wisdom, empathy, and a genuine commitment to the well-being of all of our residents. And I ask you today, assembled, to vote for me, Don Weirach, for City Council. Allow me to continue advancing our city forward with you. It's not everybody's job. But it takes a real leader. It's essential. We have to improve the quality of life for everybody. I don't have a brother-in-law that's a county supervisor endorsing me. I do have Donald Day, who I worked with a number of years ago, who just endorsed me. He's in charge of $1.7 billion worth of construction for the entire county of San Bernardino. When we need help, it'll be here, and the right people will show up. Thank you very much, and thanks for coming out tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Weirach. Tonight, I'd like to thank all 4 of our candidates. If we could give them a round of applause, please. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming out tonight. It's never easy to sit there and be asked a bunch of questions and have to respond on the fly. Thank you for those of you that came out tonight and joined us via Facebook. We appreciate that. We hope you have a wonderful evening, and please make sure to vote when the ballots come out. Have a great night. Thank you.
About 3 minutes next time.
See what we can do.